On behalf of Indian Military Review, I welcome all the experts and the attendees to this first edition of business opportunities in the aerospace sector. Before I introduce the experts and give you the format, just two guidelines. In case of questions, please use the Q&A button on the right-hand side, which is displayed with a question mark. And the panelists as well as will be keeping a track of the questions coming up there. We'll club the similar questions together, and the panelists, the attendees who have asked those questions, we will try and bring you on stage so that you can speak to the experts also. So some of the attendees have joined with the speaker link. We have moved them off stage, but when required, we'll move them on stage. Ankita Chakraborty and Jaspreet Kaur are both co-hosts, and if anybody has any technical problem, you can chat with them and they will fix your problem, any technical problem, directly with you. So now it's my privilege to introduce the two guests. First is Air Marshal Anil Chopra, PVSM, AVSM, VM, VSM, who's currently advisor to the Society of Indian Defense Manufacturers. He's a former Director General of Center for Air Power Studies. He's a qualified flying instructor, test pilot, commanded a Mirage squadron, and he headed the aircraft and systems testing establishment. He's been a team leader of a MiG-21 upgraded Bison aircraft project for 4 years. He commanded operational air bases in Western and Eastern sectors. He was Air Officer commanding Jammu and Kashmir, and in Air Headquarters, he was Assistant Chief of Air Staff Inspections. He was also Air Officer in Charge Personnel, member of the Armed Forces Tribunal, member of the Executive Council of Jawaharlal Nehru University, and he's a prolific writer and author. During his service, he has interacted extensively with the aerospace industry. Group Captain Dr. Rajiv Kumar Narang, VM, is a senior fellow at the Manohar Parrikar Institute for Defense Studies and Analysis. He is a helicopter pilot, qualified flight safety and accident investigator. He's the center seat qualified instructor on Chetak and Cheetah helicopters. He has a commercial helicopter pilot license. He is author of a number of books. Prime amongst them is India's Quest for UAVs and Challenges. He writes extensively on Make in India, self-reliance, and counter-drone systems. He's been a research and senior fellow at the Center for Air Power Studies. He was director of strategic initiatives at Drone Federation of India. He has been a member of the Drone Working Subgroup, Department of Industry and International Trade, Ministry of Commerce and Industry. He has been a member of the High Power Steering Committee of Innovation for Defense Excellence, IDEX, and he is the author of the Headquarter IDS SIDM report titled A Roadmap for India Becoming Atmanirbhar in Counter-Drone Technologies and Systems. So with that introduction, what I would like to tell you about the format is that first we will have Air Marshal Anil Chopra giving a basic talk for 15 minutes and followed by another talk by Rajiv Kumar Narang for 20 minutes. And then we'll have approximately 1 hour 45 minutes for question answers. So while they are giving their talk, you are welcome to put your questions and we will keep a track of them. So over to Air Marshal Anil Chopra.
Thank you, General Ravi Arora, for hosting this event and inviting me to be part of it. Good evening, my co-panelist, R.K. Narang, and the co-hosts, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So happy to be with you all. I'm now going to make a short presentation for which I'm going to share my screen. You will allow me to share, sir?
Yes, sir.
It's just 1 minute. It's not getting shared. Okay, I will use the Chrome tab. Right, now there is some problem. We tried this yesterday, but why this sharing is not taking place? 1 minute. Okay, I have managed to sort out.
Yes, we can see.
Yes, and now you have the full screen, and you can see the full screen. Yes. So, as the subject for the day is business opportunities in the aerospace sector, I'm going to be speaking about this. First, I want to mention that air power's dominance after World War II, whether it was Battle of Britain, war in Korea, in Vietnam, in Iraq, the Arab-Israeli wars, which continue this day since last 48 hours, Indo-Pakistan wars, and more recently, continuing war in Ukraine and Ops Sindoor. I'm going to talk a little bit about air power, and then we will see how this is going to dominate the future. The second aspect is space. Space is the ultimate frontier, whether it's communications, early warning, ISR, navigation, targeting, everything. In fact, entire life on planet Earth is being controlled by events in space, and there are now weaponization has taken place, and our satellites could physically be attacked through jamming, through kinetic kill, or through directed energy weapons and various other means that are there. But I will be restricting myself to aerospace today. Let's quickly run through about Ops Sindoor, though a much bigger event has taken place. Unfortunate, we lost an airliner in Ahmedabad, and our prayers for those who have departed and the family members who are going to suffer that loss. A ghastly, accident, and we are very sorry for everybody.
Now it's okay.
Okay, so let's quickly run through what happened. Pakistan pre-Pahalgam, the internal unrest was going on. The Baluch, the Sindhis, the KPK insurgency was on. Weak leadership, zero credibility, and strong resentment against Pak Army, and also Imran Khan's release was being sought, and he remained very popular. So the option with Pakistan Army was to talk about Kashmir, bring in religion issues against India, and to carry out a terrorist attack in Kashmir with clinical undeniability. And that's what they did on 22nd April at a tourist spot in Pahalgam. Killed 26 male tourists and identified on basis of religion and shot them at point blank range. And the PRF, the Resistance Front of LET, they actually claimed responsibility, but then the Pakistan establishment was angry. They asked them to withdraw it, and then they reclaimed, and then again they withdrew it. So this kind of a thing was going on. The military objective for India was to identify terrorist targets, prepare target plans, prepare the battlefield, ensure inter-services, inter-agency coordination, and then we did what we did, and we all know that the constraints put, the political constraints put on the military was that real-time informed terrorist movement, no elements of surprise was there, because now everybody knew, the Prime Minister announced that there will be reprisals, and therefore the terrorists were on the move. The targets were specified. Infra was without targeting the military assets. This was the requirement, that you will not target the military, respond only after the enemy reacts, and if they choose to attack our military targets, and operate with the comparable technical and operational parity, and that is how it was. So we decided that out of a list of 21 targets, 9 targets were to be hit. 5 of them were in Pakistan occupied Jammu and Kashmir, and there were 4 which are in Pakistan, mostly in Punjab, just opposite, Batinda, Firozpur, this sector. Yes. So what we did, Murid, today, I want to show you some of the pictures so that we all understand what the air power can do. And here is the Murid K terror infra, which is boxed in yellow dots. And I'm now going to show you some pictures before and after the attack. You see the one on the left is before the attack, and on the right is the one with the attack circle with red. And this is how Bhavalpur terror camp was there, and I will show you the pictures of how we made holes. See this thing on the right, the red circle. Also in the center below, you can see a hole in the dome. Not one, but three of them. You can see the holes in the dome. You also see in the middle another red circle showing damage to other parts of the complex. Bhavalpur, I'm showing you again the domes, the two pictures before and after the strike on top, and there's a picture from within Bhavalpur camp from inside, how the pictures looked, and these pictures are released by Pakistan, especially the one inside. And then, of course, we saw the funeral was attended by senior military officers. That means the military and the terrorist groups were very much in cohorts, and a lieutenant general level officer who attended the funeral. We also know that very high value targets in each of these targeted camps, including the brother-in-law, the elder brother-in-law of Jaish-e-Mohammed chief, got killed on these attacks. So I am now showing you the consolidated list of targets that had been identified and thought of. A long list, don't have to read it, just to give you an idea of the scope. It covered entire Pakistan from north to south, and this is what then thereafter played off in the coming days, and Pakistan decided to attack, and what you see in the green is what they attacked, and one in orange is what we attacked. This kind of attacks took place, but we all know, and I'll talk more about it, as to what were the results. And this is the 9th and 10th, the military targets that finally were attacked by both the sides. Now I want to show you the military targets that Indian Air Force struck and what exactly happened. This is Pasalur Air Defense radar that were knocked off. You can see the pictures. The yellow box is showing the general area. Right one is the closer look at the radar before, and below are the after. That means the radar that has got knocked off. You can see on the right, there's a big hole in the radar. Chunyan Air Defense Radar, similarly, you can see a bigger picture on the left, but if you see the radar pictures before and after on the right, you see how the radar has been knocked off, and there is a hole absolutely in the center. Arfwala Air Defense Radar, again, the general layout of the radar you'll be able to make out in all the pictures is similar. On the left is the radar site, and on the right are before and after pictures of the radar site, and again a bullseye hit. Sargodha Airfield, more or less the westernmost target that India hit, is about 200 kilometers from the border, mirror image of Ambala, if I may use the word. And this is we have hit the runway itself, and you can see this circle, equivalent circle on the runway in the right. And I'll show you some more pictures of Sargodha and the way the runway has been hit at two different places, and right on the central line you can see these two places. And I must tell you, Sargodha is just 9 kilometers away from Kirana. Here is the place where the nuclear assets are buried inside the caves, and also Sargodha is the air vector where F-16 will be carrying the air vector of the nuclear air vector. Now, Rahim Yar Khan is an airfield, also a civil airport. You can see the assets right. First, you hit the runway, and then you hit the complexes. You can see before and after pictures of both the runway and the complex that were hit. Before and after pictures are there. Rahim Yar Khan runway. This is a much better picture of the runway. You can see where near the center of the runway we have hit. Chaklala is Noor Khan, that is where it's between Islamabad and Rawalpindi, which are the capital and the general headquarters of the Pakistan Army. And this is the strategic base. They have the command and control center from where the whole war is to be fought, where the Prime Minister stroke the Army Chief will be sitting. It's an underground bunker, which is marked in the center. And then I'm going to show you some pictures of how Chaklala, this bunker and the hangar were hit, and you can see some of the pictures before and after. The damage has been absolutely phenomenal. And some close-up pictures now of the same Noor Khan field and the the bunker, which is the concrete on top, and thereafter down below there is a shaft which takes it underground. Now Noor Khan airfield, again there were aircraft parked outside on the tarmac, and you can see before and after pictures of how they have been hit. Sakkar airfield is close to Hyderabad. It's in Sindh, and you see again the before and after pictures down below. If you see the radar, how this radar has been knocked off. Again, a close-up picture of the hangar, which is on the right, and below is the one where you can see the damage and the hit. Sakkar airfield, this is the same hangar. Now, an even closer look at the of the same hangar and the hits. Bhulari is north of Karachi, important base, huge runway. They have F-16s there, and I want to highlight that there are reportedly 4 F-16s which were destroyed within the hangar. You can see the pictures on the right. The hangar, undamaged hangar, and the one after the hole has been made over there. Again, a better picture. See this so much clearer picture of Ballari hangar. Shahbaz airfield, you can see the ATC building has been hit. You see the top building, and the one which is hit, you see the picture down below. Jacobabad, we hit the Jacobabad aircraft airfield and the hangar, and you will see some of the pictures of the hangar and the tarmac in which there was a destruction. You see on the left, it's a clean hangar. On the right, the roof is totally missing in more than half of the hangar. So I have just shown you what has happened, but let's see how did the whole thing end. Pakistan air defenses were crippled. All major air bases were hit. 11 out of 19 air bases. There were total 19 air bases at any given time. 15 active, 11 have been hit. All major air bases were damaged. Aircraft losses now in the public domain. At least 4 F-16s, 2 AEWC aircraft, 1 JF-17, 1 J-10, etc. have been reportedly destroyed. Indian Air Defenses did a solid job, extremely well coordinated between the 3 services. Minimal damage to our military infrastructure. LOC defense on Indian side was absolutely robust. Sea denial had been achieved by Indian Navy. No ship was moving out of Karachi Harbour, and targets hit were close to Pakistan's Nuclear Command Authority headquarters and leadership, which was at Noor Khan, which we talked about it a little earlier. The takeaways are that Pakistan nuclear bluff has been called off. India demonstrated the determination to escalate and to manage escalation. Indian armed forces demonstrated the ability. That only thing that I think they did a slightly better job than us was the narrative building. I think Chinese helped them a lot. Globally, they continue to concentrate on loss of aircraft and try to downplay that 20% of the Pakistan Air Force had been, the capability had been degraded by hitting 11 large numbers. So now what do we get to learn from all this, from Op Sindoor, and also what has happened in Ukraine? Is the air denial and long-range strikes, that is the future. We saw that neither side could send a fighter aircraft or any aircraft across the boundary border, and therefore had to manage standoff weapons because there was an air denial. Mobile AD systems have gained importance. The missile advantage in terms of range, whether it's surface to air or air to air, has become very important. Electronic warfare aircraft Pakistan has, we don't have, though all our fighters do have electronic warfare suits, but we don't have a dedicated electronic warfare aircraft. The secure data links and encrypted RT has become important. Drones, counter-drone systems, absolutely important. We have seen the deep strike carried out by the Ukrainians, and now again demonstrated 2 days back by the Israelis, how they can go deep inside and strike important strategic targets. We need to have a fresh look at procurement procedures and priorities. Multi-domain operations is the future. Space will remain a key enabler, and China, Pakistan, Turkey nexus is well established. We have to factor that in our international diplomacy. Information warfare will remain important, and perhaps we need to set up a central information management organization, maybe under the NSA, and Atmanirbharta and mastering key technologies will be absolutely important, and we need to have a fresh look at our doctrines and tactics all the time. Now let us look at from the industry point of view. The budget, the total budget for this financial year is very significant, $78.8 billion, out of which capital budget is nearly $20 billion, and out of which 75% has to be spent within India. That means the purchases will have to be something which is made in India, and ease of doing business is being worked on. Advantage continues to be with the defense PSUs, but a greater indigenization roadmap has been made for all the three services. But since I'm going to talk about aerospace, Indian Air Force has brought out a clear indigenization roadmap, and they are working very closely with the industry, both public and private sectors. Supply chains are issues. We have 60% of Indian Air Force continues to be of the Russian origin, and 25% is Western, only 15% Indian. These ratios have to change in the next 20 years, and I hope by then we'll be 40% Indian and 30% from the outsiders. Aircraft and weapon platforms, the highest levels of technology. They are game-changing technologies. We all know about them. Some of them are listed on the screen. Artificial intelligence, hypersonic, electronic warfare, cyber, direct energy weapons, all are going to have a great impact. In aviation technologies, the obsolescence sets in very, very quickly. Technologies remain guarded, and therefore there is a need for us to either find partners or do your own investments. Now, as far as we are concerned, indigenization push is being encouraged. We have a positive indigenization list of over 5,000 items. We have this year 23,662 crores for the exports. Defense production itself is going up. We are targeting 3,00,000 crore, defense production by the end of this decade, that is the next 5 years, and exports of 50,000 crores. The JV route is working beautifully, whether it's BrahMos, CASA, Adani Elbit JV, Rafale, big in India with SAMs and SPICE, the lightning lifting pods, MR SAMs, LR SAMs, again with Israelis. We are doing radars, ground and airborne radars, again with JVs with Israel. We are working GHL for the G414 engine. Tatas are working for the LEAP engine, and so many other partnerships. So I thought first part is that partnerships are important. Fighter ecosystem is getting in place. Unfortunately, the production numbers are still less. Over 400 LCAs are committed. LCA Mark 1, 2 are committed. Production needs to really go up. Indigenization level is still around 55%, has to go up to a higher figure. As long as the radar and the engine remain imported, this cannot change in a hurry. Over 500 indigenous helicopters are already flying. There are orders for close to 1,000 more. We also need to have a medium lift helicopter of our own, which is already the mock-up has been seen by us, but more needs to be done. And as I said, the Tata they have brought in the ecosystem for transport aircraft, and I hope one day that we will graduate to making a single aisle airliner. We are continuing to be behind schedule for AEWC and FRAs. We have ordered indigenous platforms using ex-Air India aeroplanes, but the pace at which we are going is still slow, and there is, we have been advising the government that this needs to be accelerated. As I said, India's private sector is coming up big. We are making aerostructures for helicopters, transport aircraft in large numbers for global customers of global standards. And you know that the Tatas are going to produce 50 F-16 wing pairs a year in India, already started. That'll be the only production facility of its kind in the world. And we have recently signed for 25 Rafales. Fuselages will be made every year, which will be the same numbers as being made in France. And we have the Su-30 vertical fin, the LCA front, middle and rear fuselage being made in India, and we are making HERMS 900 UAVs and many MSME startups in a big way. I am a advisor to Society of Indian Defense Manufacturers, can say with pride that over 700 companies are participating with us. Drones will be, of course, spoken by Group Captain Narang in much greater detail, but I must say that while DRDO's Ghatak UCAV is, looks very promising, it will be stealth, but the drone culture is building up. The startups are huge in number, but we continue to import many things from battery to motors to sensors, semiconductors, GPS sensors, etc. from outside. And there is time that we need to start making more of these in India. Indigenous aero engine remains critical. Many companies, including Safran, Rolls-Royce, GE, are talking to us. They're asking for huge money. They're willing to design jointly with us. The intellectual property rights will be with us. And we hope that this decision will be taken very, very quickly. It's not the fighter aircraft engine. From here will flow the airliner engine, will also flow smaller engines for UAVs and cruise missiles, etc. So therefore, the huge ecosystem that we need to push. Advanced weapons approach is very, very important. The Astra 1 is flying. The 2 is nearly ready for induction. 3 with much larger range of 350 kilometers is still under development. Similarly, BrahMos is flying. The supersonic missile did an outstanding job in Sindoor, but we're waiting for a BrahMos 2, which will be a hypersonic missile and extremely accurate. So the future is in hypersonic and direct energy weapons, and I hope and think that they are being driven. The country, we are really proud. We are proud of what we did in Op Sindoor. Our nation is absolutely outstanding. We are already the 4th largest economy. Soon we will be the 3rd largest economy. And in all counts, we are progressing slowly, steadily, but very, very smoothly. And we are really proud of our military. We thank them for the service to the nation. And it is our job, you and I, the listeners, and we on the panel, to support indigenization for India to succeed. With this little presentation, I now hand back to, I'll stop sharing my screen, and I will hand back to
Thank you, sir.
Arora. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Okay, great introduction. Thank you very much. And now we have Group Captain R.K. Narang to make his presentation before we take on questions. Group Captain Narang.
Thank you, sir. Okay, can you see the full screen, sir? So can you see the full screen?
Yeah, I can see the full screen.
Okay. Okay, I think it's my advantage that Marshal Chopra has spoken before me, because with his kind of knowledge, it's he could cover air operations in a much better manner than I would have covered. So that's an advantage. But briefly, I'll touch upon a few points which I thought would be relevant. We have seen emergence of unmanned systems in this war. And if you see the chronology, what happened in Armenia, Azerbaijan was Armenia lost war within few weeks because it was not prepared for drone war. And Russia-Ukraine war also started with the celebration of TB2, but soon Russia neutralized it, and then the commercial low-cost drones came into limelight. They too disappeared, and now we are coming up with a lot of critical, secure, mature unmanned technology. Op Sindoor saw systematic escalation of battle. Offense, we saw multiple systems, especially loitering drones, network aircraft with stand-up weapons, AEW, air-launched BrahMos, and many such systems. Defense was very surprising. In fact, Pakistan could not really penetrate our defense in the real sense. And from our indigenous Akash, MRSAM, S-400, short-range missiles, upgraded guns, all networked together through Akash 3 and integrated air and command control system of Indian Air Force, played a critical role in air defense. So weapons were needed. So, but some certain things were felt. I think we needed, since we are going to look at what are the potential, there is a need for indigenous low-cost, scalable, assured counter drone swarm technology. So this is a scope where we need to work on. Remote tracking, civil military UTM, I think was also felt, because this will be required to be introduced in the times to come. And probably we will need AI-led high autonomy secure network system for air-to-air and air defense battles. So there is the role for AI-led high autonomy secure systems. Indigenous electronic components, secure communication system, data links, storage devices, sensors, GPI denied operation capability will be asked of the defense forces, which our industry must prepare for. And emphasis will be on indigenous development of critical technologies to reduce vulnerabilities and unwarranted import dependencies. Remember, Indian industry is also looking forward to exporting some of our equipment. And when we are looking at collaboration with our foreign partners, there will be greater emphasis on co-production and co-development due to some of the incidents which happened due to source code issues and engine delays. I think emphasis will be on co-development and co-production. In the civil aviation, let's understand there has been study impetus to create number of airports in India, and they have reached 157 in 2024. Aim is to make 350 to 400, and this is an area we need to work on. And remember, future airports will not only be accommodating aircraft, they probably will also be accommodating drones, urban air mobility platforms, and advanced air mobility unmanned platforms as well. Domestic passenger traffic had reached about 30.6 crore with the year-on-year growth of 13%. International passenger from India had grown to 7 crore with 22% year-on-year growth. It means international traffic is increasing. 1,150 aircraft orders were placed for the commercial airliners in 2023. This number will reach 1,100 planes by 22 or 27, but it will increase to much more in the times. By the time our import order of 1,150 aircraft is realized, and it is likely that we will require another 1,500 to 2,000 more civil airliner in the envisaged about 15 to 20 years. Now, with that in mind, I foresee there will be greater emphasis on setting up of assembly line, component manufacturing, and MRO in India. And you have to take into account that Government of India has been saying that we need to have MRO and assembly line being assembled in India, being set up in India. So I think we need to look at not only central government policies, we also need to look at the state government policies. Defense reforms, 2025 has been declared as the Ministry of Defense Year of Defense Reforms. Last year, 2 D&D project and a Make-2 were nearing completion. Now, D&D is important because these projects were to be done by the private sector investment, and these 2 projects reaching near completion indicates that private sector is gradually coming on board on a Make-2 platform, where it gets some assurance of orders, and it invests its own 3. And 3 more projects were launched under, there's a correction, is a Make-3 guidelines, which probably is with some international partners. So far, 5 positive indigenization lists have been released by the Ministry of Defense. The positive indigenization list means these items which are put in these, they will be procured only from Indian manufacturers. In addition, a Srijan portal has been created where the items which Indian government wants to be indigenized have been put, and these are 37,000 items. It's a huge opportunity for Indian industry to identify these and align with their own strengths and look for where they can work for. And remember, there is an incentive for Indian industry to export also. The SOP for defense export has been simplified and made business friendly in May 2024. DGFT has also authorized Department of Defense Production of Ministry of Defense to grant export authorization for certain items covered under the SCOMAT list, which was entirely the domain of DGFT, Director General Foreign Trade. And DDP, in fact, promulgating 3 open general license lists where industry is free to export those items. Now that's a very, very positive initiative. Defense attaches have been empowered to export defense exporters. So I think defense attaches are being sensitized how they can support Indian industry, and I'm sure our embassies will be more proactive in this domain. Competitive bidding has been introduced instead of nominating entities where DPSUs were in general considered as a nominated entity. So where it has created space for private sector to enter. 25% R&D funding of MOD has been earmarked for private sector, and many big private players are getting into many projects. C295 is one, but I think long-term C295 is only a licensed production. In fact, future we would be seeing more indigenous content and probably greater indigenous design development upgradation in the times to come. National Geospatial Policy was released in 2022, where it created space for the private sector to get into space domain. Indian Space Policy in 2023. In-Space Seed Fund Scheme was created in 2023. And IDEX initiatives have been launched for aeronautics, space, drones, and many other such defense technologies. Defense production, Indian government is paying a lot of attention to increasing defense production and defense export. 2024, it had increased to 1,30,000 from the previous year, which was lesser. And similarly, defense export has gone to 26,000 to 622 crores. 2029, this we intend to increase it to 3 lakh crore and defense export to 50,000 crore. Now here there is a space for private sector. Defense, there are other initiatives. 2 defense corridors have been created. Atmanirbharta has been the focus of Indian government. Production linked incentive schemes have been promulgated for various items. Drone being one, and it is under review. Probably we will see another one coming. Indigenous design, development, and manufacturing is given preeminence in the procurement, and there are many other initiatives being taken in the defense acquisition procedure to facilitate easier procurement from indigenous Indian manufacturers. Gaganyaan program is an indication that we are going more into space, and private sector is being special role in these various initiatives. Indian Army has set up Army Design Bureau, Air Force has set up Directorate of Aerospace Design, Navy has had a Directorate of Naval Design. They have also set up Naval Innovation and Indigenization Organization. Now these are there to support indigenous design, development and manufacturing and help them become a major in between the industry and the defense forces. If you look at these projects, twin engine deck-based fighter, though it's under still consider approval, advanced medium combat aircraft as covered by Marshal Chopra, LCA Mark II, LCA Mark I, Navy. These projects probably lot of work. You have to align your requirement and approach these HAL. I'm sure they'll be happy to have you on board. Similarly, we have advanced light helicopter, which has already been there. We have recently come up with the Hindustan Turbo Trainer 40 and intermediate mediate jet trainer, which is Sitara. That is also coming up very soon in the times to come. I think we need to gear up for production in the times to come, because it is undergoing review by the services. ALH Mark IV is already there. Light combat helicopter is under production. HAL has upgraded Dornier 228 and some export orders are there in progress and more are expected. C295 production we have ordered for 56 more are likely to be placed, and currently the number of systems being made in India are less. I'm sure industry, if they approach Airbus and TASL, there more avenues could open up. Saras Mark II being developed by National Aerospace Laboratory. It is meant for Air Force as well as for civil. I feel they will need a production partner because NAL is a predominantly an R&D organization, and they will need the private sector expertise in commercializing and understanding the commercial dynamics of the marketing and production of civil aircraft. And if you are one of those, I'm sure you should approach them. Another project, two projects which probably are in the pipeline. Hansa trainer aircraft is already developed by the NAL, but they are facing Rotex engine problem. I'm sure they will be looking for some solutions. Future, they are going for Hansa Electric. So if industry has some bright ideas, I'm sure they will be happy to have those input. Regional transport aircraft is a long-term project, but it is not yet approved. But when it is approved and the Indian government is looking for indigenization, probably this could be the next one on track. NAL is also getting into high altitude pseudo satellite. Remember, pseudo satellite is also developed by a private sector for defense. So NAL wants to go into the civil domain, and they are also looking at urban air mobility, unmanned traffic management system, and they will be looking for production partners and collaborators. If you have one, look for them. Drones are being employed for multiple applications. They are here. I'm not going to cover it because there are more issues to be covered. Remember, there has been since 2002, 2021, government of India has been on number of policy reforms. They initially came up with the US rules. They closed the cancelled these rules and came up with the drone rule 2021. I think that was the fastest review of rules which are almost permanent in nature. 30th September, they came up with a production link incentive scheme, and now there is a demand for design link incentive scheme. 24th October, they came up with a national UTM policy, but UTM is not yet operational. And if you have some solutions, I'm sure, DGCA or Airport Authority of India, Ministry of Civil Aviation would be keen. Certification scheme for unmanned aerial system was launched in January 2022. Import of drones was banned, so that to promote indigenous manufacturing, Kisan Drone Scheme launched in February to promote indigenous, proliferation of drones. They launched a policy on export of civil drone less than 25 kg. So there is a scope for export. 30th November 2023, Namo Drone DG, where women were encouraged to, get into drone industry. Similarly, guidelines were issued for vertiports. A civil UTM, as I said, it will have multiple systems to be integrated in it, and those who have the strength probably can look at it. This I can explain if it comes in the questions. This is the Digital Sky platform. It's a single window platform for various approvals. You want to do anything related to drone, please go to this platform. You will have a lot of information. Now, this is how the Digital Sky map looks, and it's a dynamic map. There can be red zones. Now, red zones and yellow zones, I will explain later, where the drone operations is banned, and you need to be aware. You can actually go to your place and see whether you come under red zone and green zone. It's a very user-friendly, and you can also identify where you can fly or you can't fly. Now, remember, what is red zone? Red zone is 5 kilometers from the airport or any area which is defined by the central government, and it will be marked on the Digital Sky as a red. You will be able to see it. Yellow zone, you need approval from the nearest air traffic control unit, and these and green zone is the area up to 200 feet from 8 kilometers to 12 kilometers from an airport, or beyond 12 kilometers. If it is not in the red zone, that area up to 400 feet is a green zone. And there you can operate your drone, but remember, you have to follow the drone rules which require you to register in the Digital Sky and file your flight plan. Now, see number of approvals which are coming through Digital Sky, and the red one which you see on top, that is a separate issue. Your drone must have insurance, that you should be aware. Your drone needs to have a type certification, as your car is, car manufacturers take approval from their certifications they take. You have a remote pilot training organization. These are the organizations who train drone pilots. And after you get a drone pilot, you get a certificate. You have an authorized testing entity to certify your drones. If you are a manufacturer, you have to certify your drone, and these certification body from through them, QCI certifies, and the certification or rather type certification is given by DGCA. Similarly, red, yellow, green zone I have also shown on the digital sky. Flight plans are required to be filled. There is a mechanism now which has been introduced, training the trainer. Like even trainers are trained. You can train that. The facility has been given to remote pilot training organization. Each drone has got a unique identification number. It is like a car plate of yours. So drone has a car plate which is called UIN, or even situation report, like what is allowed, not allowed. You can see it on digital sky. Accident reports have to be put. So when you have an accident, you go to a police station. Here you put it on the digital sky and it is noted. Similarly, you can also lease your drone. So it's a very friendly program where you can have business opportunities. Government of India has doing mapping all the village areas, and this scheme is called Swamita scheme. Large number of villages have been done, and much more. I think about 2,60,000 more villages need to be surveyed. And if you have those capabilities, you can always do it. Civil ecosystem is being created all around India in academic institutions, and many missions are being launched. Various state governments. So these are given. Center of excellence are being set related to drone, but there is a gap because certain technology gap in the drone technologies have not been covered, and there will be scope. In the larger unmanned system, Tapas drone is 10 orders are likely to be there, and I'm sure there will be some opportunities for the private sector if you can come up with niche. And government is looking to improve these systems. Also, there is a Archer NG. This is also a medium altitude, long endurance UAV. But and it is under development, and very soon it has to go under trials. So if you have anything niche, this drone, there is a lot of focus on miniaturization of weapons, sensor, smart munitions. So if you are into those domains, I think it's a potential there. This is combat aerial teaming system, which is a manned unmanned teaming. This is the unmanned bird which is shown there. It will fly ahead of a manned aircraft. It could be controlled from any situation, and it will have a critical role in the future warfare. This was supposed to be a DRDO's UCAV, unmanned combat aerial vehicle. Now DRDO is planning to use, this was a 1/5 the scale of the larger UCAV. They are planning to use even this one as an armed platform. If you have, you can contribute in miniaturization, or you want to be one of the production partners. Please be open to them. Many Indian entities have come up with the various drone systems, and more are coming. Similarly, now remember, earlier I spoke about unmanned traffic management system for the civil. Now there is also requirement of the military. Now the difference between civil and military is you need secure communication, secure data link. This will be de-linked from the civil, but it will require a feed from the civil UTM. So, and maybe there may be a requirement of giving some inputs to the civil UTM. That kind of architecture will be required. If you have anything, you can work on it. Components, various components are becoming critical. As I said, vulnerabilities were shown during the Ukraine war. In fact, Ukraine vice premier went on social media to complain to the DJI manufacturer that hundreds of Ukrainians had died because of vulnerabilities of their software, which probably they were claiming they had shared with the Russians. Aero engine will be a critical. Now, aero engine, we are not only talking of Kaveri, we are talking of GE TOT is coming to HAL, but we are looking at a Kaveri Mark II. Probably AMCA, we are going for a higher power engine. HLFT, Hindustan Light Fighter Trainer, which is going to be a futuristic fighter trainer, probably capable of man-unmanned teaming. There will be a lot of scope for the private sector to come into it, because man-unmanned teaming has various new technologies. I'm sure people will be looking forward to it. Helicopters, as I have already covered, trainer transport, all these and systems will require aero engines. And if you need to really invest, I think this is the area probably. Just look at number of systems we will be needing, and it does not cover many other which are there, logistic drones and many other ones. Innovation, government is paying special attention to innovation. In the IDEX, 50% of the funding is paid by the government, 50 by you if you have innovative ideas. IDEX Prime 10 crore, Aditi 50 crores, Bhumi initiated by BSF. Not seeing the activity from BSF, but this is how they had started. Technology Development Fund, up to 90% of the funding can be given by the DRDO if your project is aligned with DRDO, or it is an innovative project which is approved by DRDO. IndusX is India-US Innovation for Defense Acceleration. It's a innovation project where you can collaborate with Indian, and the Indian industry can collaborate with US and vice versa to develop some of the technologies. And you can also look for the US innovators to collaborate and bring the technology to India with co-development, co-production and IPR control. Also, Make One, Make Two, Meher Baba Competition Air Force is a very, very pragmatic, futuristic initiative where they have developed strong technology in India. That's all from me. And now, if there are any questions, I can take up.
Okay, thank you, Group Captain Narang.